Imagine waking up and realizing every single piece of digital evidence of your life is gone. Your bank account, your old photos, even who you are to the world online, just vanishes. How would society scramble to pick up the pieces when you cease to digitally exist? Imagine waking up to a profound and absolute silence, the silence of total digital erasure. Overnight, every login, every stored payment method, every secure biometric marker simply vanishes. Suddenly, our seamless modern lives halt. Take banking, for example, the instantaneous transfer you relied on for an emergency dinner out. Inert. The entire global architecture of ACH payments, built on traceable data streams, grinds to a screeching stop because neither your bank nor the receiving institution can definitively verify who you are. Trying to pay rent or even just turn on the electricity becomes an impossible scavenger hunt, requiring tangible proof of life that no longer exists digitally. Without verified utility credentials tied to your unique digital signature, power companies like Con Edison don't know if they should run service to a non-existent account. For millions whose very commerce, from paying a tax bill by the 15th to scheduling simple appointments at local clinics, relies on those persistent, invisible data streams, the sudden void is not just inconvenient, it's paralyzing. It's a reminder that our entire civilization has built itself upon a fragile layer of code and zeros, something we take for granted until the light flickers out. Imagine waking up to find that every digital thread connected to you, from your professional profiles to your university alumni pages, is simply gone. The immediate fallout would be staggering. Getting a job wouldn't just mean handing out resumes. It would require proving who asterisk you were over decades of online activity, and the proof is erased. Think about LinkedIn. Those years spent building connections, accumulating endorsements from former managers at places like Google or Microsoft. All that social capital vanishes into thin air, leaving you a professional ghost with no verifiable history. Even navigating a simple collaborative project becomes impossible. How do you prove your role in a merger executed around 2018 if all company records pointing to your name are wiped? On the social side, the references that matter, the shared memories, the milestones verified by tagged photos on Facebook or old emails with names like Sarah or David, those threads unravel until only disconnected anecdotes remain. We live now in a culture of digital verification, where our credentials, our history, and our connections asterisk are our identities, and overnight loss equates to institutional invisibility. It's not just about deleting an account, it's losing the proof of your existence within modern society. We build our entire modern financial lives on invisible digital ledgers, records of every payment made, every bill paid, and every small loan taken out over decades. When all those records vanish overnight, the first thing to snap wouldn't be a bank account, but your credit score itself. Consider colossal databases like Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Their entire function is built on assuming that robust paper trail exists for everyone. You would no longer just face difficulties getting new loans. You couldn't even prove the payments you already made were legitimate or accurate. A simple mortgage application in Miami, which currently takes minutes of digital vetting, would grind to a complete and terrifying halt because there is zero history to cross-reference. Banks run on certainty, and when all that verifiable data vanishes, millions of people are instantly stateless within the economic system. Everything from renting an apartment in Toronto to securing necessary insurance coverage relies on this hidden agreement built into your digital identity. Overnight, we would face a profound financial blackout where solvency means nothing because there is no one left to record the truth. Imagine waking up to a world where official documentation, the things that prove you exist, simply vanish. Yesterday's identity would suddenly become tomorrow's fiction. Picture reaching for your birth certificate, the humble piece of paper issued in 1985 that proves you are who you say you are, only to find the physical filing system empty and the digital archive corrupted. It wouldn't just be about a forgotten social security number. It would be the wholesale loss of medical records, making preventative care impossible and treatment for conditions like type 1 diabetes medically speculative. Trying to prove an inheritance claim, a complicated affair perhaps involving the estate of someone named Eleanor Vance who lived in Boston back in the 80s, would become an exercise in pure guesswork without documented legal standing. Even your immunization history, critical data maintained by state health departments, would vanish from the collective record. You'd be a ghost to bureaucracy, unable to apply for basic banking services, deemed ineligible for necessary loans, and perhaps most terrifyingly, treated as if you never existed at all. Block quote. Imagine waking up to a world where every photograph, every linked address, and every piece of conversational history simply vanished. It wouldn't be just the loss of emails. It would be the sudden erasure of context for every significant connection in your life. How do you confirm if Aunt Carol is still living in Denver, or did she move away last year? Knowing her digital footprint is gone means every family reunion becomes a guessing game, stripped bare of modern archival memory. For things involving deep personal details, like needing to coordinate complex caregiving for someone like Mr. Peterson since his fall last winter, the silence would be deafening and paralyzing. Relationships built over decades now rely on fragments. Knowing that Sarah was at the conference in Singapore 3 months ago, or recognizing which James is your college roommate from 2012. Suddenly, you are forced to restart human connection all the way back to handwritten letters, a much slower, infinitely more unreliable method of keeping our sprawling social networks afloat. The sheer volume of life details we outsource nightly through our phones would cause communication to seize up, making simple gestures of remembrance feel impossible. Imagine waking up tomorrow and every digital breadcrumb, your bank records, your degrees from NYU, even photos proving you attended the graduation ceremony in May 2017, has vanished. You are effectively born blank slate. The immediate crisis isn't just having no money, it's having no proven existence asterisk. How do you establish a baseline of trust when all institutions rely on digital verification? Think about trying to apply for a job requiring professional licensure, say as an engineer or a nurse. They won't accept vague memories. They will demand the digitized records proving your years of training and successful examination dates. Even proving who you are becomes a grueling task. You can remember meeting Professor Chen in 2010, but that memory means nothing when the university database simply returns an error message. Every interaction, renting an apartment, buying a car, securing a visa, requires institutional buy-in. Suddenly, your only currency is paper and your own word, two things far harder to polish than a reliable username. The immediate panic of digital erasure fades, giving way to an instinctive return to older forms of connection. In that initial void, the things we took for granted, things like knowing your neighbor's name without searching a directory, become absolutely vital. Suddenly, community becomes more than just proximity. It's your critical infrastructure. Imagine relying solely on physical addresses and word-of-mouth systems, like old-school telegraph networks exchanging coded information, while the internet remained down. We might see spontaneous resurgence in local mutual aid societies, forcing residents to rebuild trust from scratch, a practice that echoes early cooperative movements seen after major global crises. Perhaps people rely on neighborhood watch programs or even dedicated community bulletin boards posted physically at town squares. The ability of a local diner owner, for instance, recalling the specific emergency contacts for several families simply because they've been serving them since 2015, becomes a powerful form of data retention, a human hard drive. It's in these localized pockets of deep personal knowledge that humanity would find its surprising, necessary safety net. But when you strip away every digital archive, the carefully curated Instagram posts, The thousands of emails detailing your perfect lunch order on a Tuesday in 2019. What are you left with? We spend so much energy building this immaculate, searchable scaffolding of self, believing that our data defines the contour of who we are. Yet, if those records vanished, it seems our sense of identity would crash not into nothingness, but back into irreducible humanity itself. What remains is the fragile echo in your bones, the memory of the smell of rain on hot asphalt, or the gut ache of a conversation with your grandmother that you can't even perfectly recall 5 years later. We realize then that our truest narrative isn't indexed by Google. It's housed in these messy analog corners. The scraped knee from when you were 7, the feeling of holding hands across airport baggage claim. Maybe who we are, finally, has less to do with what we have recorded and everything to do with our persistent capacity for grief, joy, and simply waking up tomorrow morning. If your digital identity disappeared, it would force humanity to confront what truly holds value, the curated stream of likes and shares, or the messy reality of face-to-face connection. Ultimately, our most important history isn't stored on a server. It lives in shared memory and physical presence. So next time you post something, remember that an echo online doesn't replace a story told between heartbeats.